Hello students, in our last topic we studied about the introduction, that was a painting done by Frederick Sorio, a French artist. Now let's go ahead with the next topic called as the French Revolution and the idea of the nation. Now in this chapter let's study how the French Revolution started. In 1789 the revolution started. In this year, the French, that is France, was under the rule of monarchy. People started revolting. The revolution proclaimed that it was the people who would henceforth constitute the nation and shape its destiny. So who will shape the destiny? The people, the citizen of that place. Oh, there is an issue here. Can you see? They are wearing masks. During that time there was no corona. Let's edit it. Okay, now it is proper. You can see that the people were totally unhappy with the rule of monarchy. Now people started protesting. They started protesting against the kings. Now what did the king do? You observe what they were saying. They were claiming for democracy. So when the king understood and started making rules saying that you have to stop this, people didn't listen. They started going against him. So what finally happened? They felt that now there is a need for change of government. Now the major changes were done during this time. The first one was the power was transferred from monarchy to the common people. Now as no one is listening to the king, he transferred his rules, his all rights to the people. Now people, first thing they did was they brought a new flag, a tricolor flag comprising of blue, white and red color. Next, France and European countries had close to 30 different languages. Now they wanted to make sure that there is a common language which the France people can speak. So they all agreed for French. Next they did was they built new hymns were composed and a national anthem was formed. Oaths were taken and martyrs commemorated, all in the name of the nation. Next, the thing they did was the Estate General was elected. He was elected by the body of active citizens and renamed the National Assembly. Post this, internal custom duties were abolished and a uniform system of weights and measures was adopted. Now, post all this, the regional dialects were discouraged. So finally, the new type of rules were framed. Now when all these rules were framed, people became happy and it started spreading all over. Now when military was also under this, the military people, that is the French army, started taking it to the other parts of the nation. Now there was something called as the Jacobin Club. This club was formed. How did this club got formed? By the students and other members of the educated middle classes. They set up a club called as the Jacobin Club. In this club also a lot of activities started happening and campaigns were prepared. This helped in spreading towards Holland, Belgium, Switzerland, how the things have been evolved in France, how the democracy is in the hands of the people. Now this started inspiring many. When all this was happening and things were shaping up, a person called as Napoleon entered. Now who is this Napoleon? He was a French military and a political leader. Now Napoleon rose to the prominence in French Revolution and he led several successful campaigns. With his coming, definitely the rule of democracy was destroyed, and somewhere he brought up new things, new administrative rules. Now, how did he reframe the Europe? He brought something called as Civil Code of 1804, as it was set by him. It is also called as Napoleon Code. Now, what is the Civil Code of 1804? This is a code that makes many changes, like principles of equality for all the people. Now, the right to property was on the names of the owners, and privileged groups had the similar rights as the lower class society, and much more. Let's study them in detail. The first thing that is there in Civil Code of 1804 is the establishment of equality for all people before the law. Now, everyone was equal in the eyes of law. So, whoever does a crime will definitely be punished. The next was a right to property. Now, whoever owned the property, the houses, the farms, they were registered on their names. Now, no one can snatch them, not even the vassals or someone. Now, the only thing that can happen was the government can snatch in case of any crime. Other than that, now the citizens are the sole owners of their own property. The next was feudal system was abolished. Now, in the feudal system, the king was at the top. In between were the nobles and the vassals, and at the bottom were the peasants, that is the farmers. This system was completely abolished. Now, after this, there were peasants, I said you. If you look at the last slide, you can see that the farmers were at the bottom. Now, these people were forcibly got worked by the upper committee people like the vassals and the nobles. Now, this was also removed. So, that feudal labor was called as serfdom. So, now the farmers were set free. Post that, the guild restrictions were removed. Prior, the peasants were taxed heavily for the trade purposes. Now, the merchants, artisans, all can trade freely. Post that, we had an important improvement, that was the improvement in the fields of transportation and communication. This increased trade. So, you can find all the 6 points as beneficial. So, now people forgot that what they were setting was taken over by Napoleon. They became indeed very happy by the Napoleon Civil Code of 1804. Now, everyone started praising him. They felt he was exceptionally good and doing good for the people. But what happened? The initial enthusiasm soon turned to hostility, as it became clear that the new administrative arrangements did not go hand in hand with political freedom. There were certain drawbacks also for this, which people realized very later, like increased taxation, censorship, forced conscription into the French army, etc. Now, when we see them, what these rules did, one was they increased the taxes. As prior the people were paying the taxes, more than that they have to pay now. Next, the censorship was introduced. That is, if anyone, any of the media people or newspaper, anyone wrote against Napoleon, they would be killed. So, no one can raise their voices. Third, people were forced to join army. If anyone is not interested, if any family is not interested, the army people were said that they have to pull the citizens and make them join in the army. Why? Because it was the Napoleon's dream that he wants a bigger army which can rule all over Europe. So now people started understanding about the Napoleon rule and felt that this was getting bad day by day. Next, when we read about all this, let's recap the dates. In 1789, what happened? French Revolution started. In the year 1799, 10 years after this, Napoleon rule started. Now, when Napoleon entered, in the 1804, he brought up a code called as Civil Code or Napoleon Code. In 1815, the Napoleon rule ended. So kindly revise these dates. Now in the next slide, you can find a set of questions. Kindly go through the set of questions. They are the important questions that can help you in your examination. If other than this any doubts, kindly let me know. Thank you.